Hey guys, I'm Rachel O'Leary and welcome to the yard. As you can see, I've gotten in another shipment of Hardscape. Spring has sprung and that means I start restocking all the things that I can't keep easily in my actual physical fish room. So what I'm going to do today is just unpack this pallet, stack it on my deck here and show you guys what I got. So let's get started. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I also got in a bunch of different Hardscape materials. Now this is nano river wood. They're nice small pieces. And then there's some giant ones, and these giant ones I won't be able to ship, but I'm pretty excited with those small pieces that I will be able to. I also picked up a box of spider wood, and there's all size pieces in there. But the thing I'm probably most excited about for you guys is this stone. A lot of you have been asking for a black aquascaping stone, and this is as close as we're gonna get. It's inert, it's beautiful. It's called Dark Hill Stone, and it has some nice shape to it, and I think it'll be really interesting for some of the mountain type scapes. I got in more stock of Cerew as well, and I got in more of the elephant skin rock because I really like it. I think it has a lot of character, just really beautiful. And then I got in another new stone, which is called Samurai Stone. Just this stuff, and it's smaller pieces, but you can see with the directional pull of that, it'll make some really interesting scapes for smaller aquariums, which I was really excited about. A lot of times when I get in all this hardscape, I end up with a lot of pieces this size or larger, which is good for those of you that have big tanks, but not so great for those of you who want to scape your little ones. So I think the Samurai Stone will be really nice. I also got in restock of the black lava. So there's Samurai, lava's in this box, and then I still have quite a bit of hardscape material still in the basement that I'll be moving out here at some point. It's a lot easier for me when the weather gets good to work with the hardscape materials. I do also have a pallet of manzanita coming. I know a lot of you have been clamoring for that. I specifically asked for small pieces that'll be suitable for tanks under 30 gallons. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to ship some of that stuff for you guys. So I had promised you guys an update on these bins, but the weather's just been really strange. It's either been absolutely very cold or absolutely raining. We've had so much rain that it's been difficult to get out here. So today it is super hot, like 90 degrees, very sunny, so I can finally get out here and show you guys the bins. As you can see, everything is growing like crazy. I was looking at some pictures from previous years, and my growth is way ahead of the curve this year. I'm not sure why, but I'll take it. I also added this little succulent garden in the front here. Let's get a little closer and I'll show you. I really like succulents and hens and chicks and things like that, and they do awesome here in the summer. And they're so easy to overwinter. The hens and chicks I leave outside, and these guys here that I purchased, I can just move into the basement and they'll stay alive over the winter. They're not frost tolerant, but they'll just survive there. But as you can see, everything is doing really well. Now I did pick up some more pitcher plants. Got a bunch of them actually. The one that I'm overwintering the one that I overwintered is starting to send out tons and tons of new growth since I moved it outside. I picked up this one from Blue Ridge Exotics, and then I picked up these two from my local garden store. And I really enjoy keeping them in this big bin because it doesn't aerate very well, so it does get some insect larvae. And these guys just seem to thrive on it. I also picked up some water hyacinth, which has already doubled, and you can see that my sensitive plant has already spread so much in fact that I've been able to move it into additional bins. Now the weather here, as I mentioned, is super hot today and the next few days, but then it's supposed to get cold down into the 40s overnight again. So I probably won't move fish out for another week. If we weren't going to have that cold snap of 40s overnight, then I would definitely be moving fish out, because it's certainly warm enough now with daytimes in the 80s to 90s and overnights in the high 50s. But again, next Monday I think we're supposed to have 40s overnight, and I really like to wait until the weather is consistently at least 50 degrees overnight before I move out any of the Danios or other fishes that I like to work with out here. So I'll update you guys on that when the time comes. The Nepenthe species is still doing well. And the speck looks awesome. I'm really happy with this tank. I think at some point though, I'm going to have my husband make me a different stand for it so I can move it somewhere else. But the fish and the shrimp are really happy in here, and the plants are doing great too. And this tank is such little effort. I trim it every other week, maybe once a month. I water change it once a week. Usually when it's, see how the level's a little bit low from evaporation because of how hot it's been. Usually when it gets about that low, I'll do about a 20% water change and refill it, and that's just about it. And you can see, hopefully, how good all the shrimp and snails, or shrimp and fish look. The blue rubies are constantly having babies. The hydrocotyle takes over. Soon I'm gonna have to split this sword because it's become multiple swords. All in all, I think it's a nice little tank and I'm pretty happy with it. Let's go down to the fish room and I'll show you what's going on down there. I also picked up this little Venus flytrap. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it inside or outside, but it was just too adorable to pass up. So one of the obstacles with these planted tanks that have really cool hardscape but use mosses is that you have to trim them a lot. Otherwise the hardscape gets completely covered up, and that's what's happened here. So I'm going to go through and just trim up the moss and move it to another tank, because you can't see all the beautiful hardscape that Kevin did. If you guys remember correctly, I think this was given to me for maybe 20,000 subs by the Brooklyn guys. And it has a really cool rock work in it that Kevin did, but you can't see it because the moss has grown so much. So I'm just going to pull a ton out, do another water change, and then stick it back in places to sort of showcase the hardscape instead of hiding it. So I'm going to drop the water line a little bit first. And look, we have chainsword growing into the rock, which is peculiar. So when I trim this, I just sort of cut and then lift it to the surface so I can remove it with a net when I'm done. I'm using Tropica straight scissors for this. They make the job really easy. So as you can see, the moss has grown in so thickly at the top that it's shading all the stuff in the bottom. So I really just need to trim it back a bit. And then I can put some more back in. And I think what I might actually do with this is I picked up a bunch of booses, so I think I might add some boost. So now I'm just going to continue with my water change, trying to catch any of these little scraps of moss that are blowing around or have gotten stuck in my chainsword, as well as cleaning out some of the moss, some of the dirt that gets trapped in this dragonstone. You can see there's quite a bit of detritus that has accumulated in some of these nooks and crannies, and I'm starting to get a little bit of algae in this tank, and I think it's probably because I haven't been very diligent with my maintenance. So that's about 50%. And this is how much moss I've trimmed out so far. It's quite a bit. And I don't know that I'm quite done yet. I think I'm going to leave this sort of carpet on the top. And then maybe stick some little buces and anubias into some of those nooks and crannies. Let's see how it looks when I fill it up. I'm going to make sure too that I wipe down not only the outside glass but the inside glass. Now it's a bit cloudy, but you can see we can see the rock work again, and you guys can also see how well that dwarf chainsword has really carpeted in this aquarium. And again, I don't add any ferts or CO2, and that little strip light is all I have, and I have it suspended up here. And it's doing fine. So I think I'm going to go ahead and shove some nooks, some anubias into some nooks and crannies, and then we'll take a look. Now, I have all this anubias that my buddy Christian sent me, so I'm just going to trim some of the roots, just so they're not quite so long, and remove any damaged leaves, of which there's not many, and just put some of them in those little holes. To split anubias, I just sort of pull it apart. If you're going to split one of these rhizomes into smaller ones, you just want to make sure you leave, you know, 3 or 4 leaves on each section. I like using about this portion. And again, I'll trim back the roots. Dragonstone is really, really nice for things like this. It's very cooperative for shoving plants into it. Which is one of the reasons I like it so much, and I think it's so well suited for newer hobbyists that are interested in planting tanks. It's very easy to make it look beautiful. And because it has all these nooks and crannies, you don't have to use super glue or anything else for the plants that you shove into it. The roots will colonize and hold it in there pretty darn quickly. I also have some of this mini boost type. It's grown in cocoa fiber mat, so it's really dense. But again, to split that, you can just pull it into sections. I'm just going to put some of that around here too. See how it does. Now in the wild, if you guys remember from my other video, this stuff actually grows on the face of rocky things, so this is a really natural placement for this stuff. And I might even stick some up here out of the top where it's really humid. See what it looks like growing immersed. Now I tend to put these things in little groupings, just so it looks a little more natural. So this is the end result for now, at least. You can see I added a bunch of different Anubias, Nana Petite, some mini Boost Catherine. Really trimmed the living heck out of that moss. And I just put the light on it like that so that you guys could see into the tank better. There's a lot of light pollution down here. But all in all, I think the tank is looking really good and it's maturing quite well. So yeah, I think we'll see how this does. And you can see that little bonsai growing out of the top is still doing pretty well. It's also lots of new growth. So this is just a really great example of a sustainable, low light, easy aquarium that pretty much anyone can maintain. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to get to work water changing. I have a pretty nice size fish order coming in tomorrow. And I need to prep a lot of tanks, so I'm just going to go around, clean tanks, refill them, and prepare labels for the new fish that are arriving tomorrow. As always, let me know below if you guys have any comments, suggestions, or questions, or tanks that you'd like to see updated. Make sure you stop by my Instagram, my Facebook, and my website where you can see my upcoming speaking engagements, my current stock list, and information on all things now.